I really love making drawings like this. I go in with so little plan, if any plan at all. In fact, you can even see moments where I hesitate as I start to move through it. Obviously, this is sped up, but you can still see those moments where I just think for a second, try to figure out, what am I going to do? I go into each of these knowing, of course, that I'm going to make a robot. That's kind of the prompt that I gave myself. But that's really all that I have. Now, as I've worked on it, it's changed a little bit. Each of these robots is trying to be a character of some kind, so they usually have eyes and mouths. Sometimes they have expressions. Sometimes they're truly mechanical, and sometimes they're more of an almost comical mechanical. But I really enjoy working on these. And it's partly because it's just relaxing to dive in with no idea what I'm going to do. I know that might sound a little weird, even a little bit more stressful, and to be fair, sometimes it is. I've worked hard to get to the point where these drawings are not stressful anymore. It's a weird menagerie of low expectations and just enough direction that I can jump in and go, well, my whole goal is just to make a robot. And so is that robot going to be something that would exist in our world? Is it a robotic animal? Is it just a human that's been turned into a robot in its form and how it's put together? Or is it like this one today, where it's a centipede of some kind? I often have almost no idea what I'm going to do when I dive in. There's been a couple of them that I've planned, that I've thought about before I executed. Many, like this one, I began by sketching, but not all. There are some that I was working on just yesterday where I did no planning at all. I took this brush pen and just began creating shapes. I have to admit, when I came back to that one later to refine some of the details, it was a little harder to work on because there'd been no plan. But sometimes that lack of concept, lack of idea where you're going to go can be freeing, and sometimes it delivers really good results. Now, you might be wondering why, if it doesn't always guarantee results, do I employ that strategy? Why don't I just do the thing that's always going to give me the results? Well, the results aren't always my goal. Part of my goal with this is to draw. Just that simple, to sit down and to draw. I record much of what I make, and there's a certain level of stress that goes into understanding that people are going to watch what I'm making. And in some ways, that influences the things that I draw. Is this video going to get the right amount of views? If I post this on Instagram, will people like it? Is this the right kind of thing that I could sell at the gallery or online? And these robots are none of that. These robots are my, love letter to myself. It sounds really odd, but they are just my own infatuations. They're things that I enjoy making for the sake of making them. And I don't record all of these. I record them sometimes, and I think I kind of do it in a way where if I don't want to share it later, I don't feel like I have to. I just record a lot of stuff, so I always have background footage. And yeah, the robots really are just for me. I set out at the beginning of the year with the marching orders to do 100 robots. Originally, I had tried to do one a day, and I would even work ahead on them to try to get 100 by the 100th day of the year. I think we're currently, as I'm recording this, on like the 121st or 122nd day. So I've really only averaged doing about one per every other day. I think I have 64 of them done right now. But the thing is, I'm not discouraged. I'm still moving. I'm still going forward with them. I'm still building more of these weird creatures. And it is going to be very exciting and very cool for me when I hit the end of them and I have the 100. I might do a video here that just goes through all 100 of them, but it's really going to be more for me. I'm just going to be happy and excited. Every time that I set out to do something and I actually follow through and finish it, it's exciting. I don't know, but I would wager that you all listening to this struggle with that sometimes as well, with getting so excited that you start things and then you get distracted by the next thing, or you get overwhelmed with some component that you didn't anticipate about the thing that you started, and so you didn't finish. It seems to be pretty common for people like us. I have more paintings and drawings floating around in this little studio of mine that are unfinished than I do finished pieces, and I have a lot of finished pieces. But I get excited, and I like to try new things. I like to try new media, And sometimes I just get distracted. Other times things overwhelm me or they stress me out and I just don't come back to them. And I used to feel really bad about that. I don't as much anymore. There's still a little bit, to be fair, there's still a little bit that I want to finish this painting from Monster Hunter that's sitting about 6 feet behind me right now. It was a big T-Rex painting and I haven't finished it yet because it got a little bit stressful. And I walked away, and it's hard for me to re-engage with things like that when I need to get back into them later. But because I finish enough pieces, because I work frequently enough now, and because I hope, partly because I understand that it's totally inefficient and just not a good way to take care of myself, to harp on myself about not finishing pieces all the time, it doesn't stress me out nearly as much as it used to. I wish that I had like a secret in that statement. I wish I could like mine out and find what it is that really has alleviated that for me. But I think it probably is the merger of I work a lot, and so I always have pieces that are finished, so I don't need to worry so much about the fact that I have several. I say several. I've got dozens of pieces that are not finished. I've got a big moose painting somewhere too. But I complete enough things. Like I'm going to complete this drawing in this session today, and this is one of 60. So that's 60 little drawings that are done. So the fact that I have 30 or 40 floating around that aren't, and in just the last 3 months I've completed 60 some odd pieces, I just don't worry about it as much. But the other side that I mentioned earlier is true, that I know that that is not a loving way for me to treat myself, to harp on myself constantly about these things that I haven't done. We all have things we haven't done. But think about if you had other people in your life, right? If you had an artist in your life who was like you, like me, who has a whole bunch of things they haven't finished, and they were sitting there beating themselves up while you guys were at coffee, would you sit there and be like, yeah, you know what? You're right. Like you've totally failed on those. You've dropped the ball. No, you would find the good things they've done, the fact that they've worked a whole bunch on their comic or on their book, or they've built some beautiful paintings, and you would focus on those things for them. You would encourage them. So I would encourage you to do that for yourself. Encourage yourself based on all of the things that you're working on and all the things that you're accomplishing. And if you don't feel like you are accomplishing that much artistically, lower your expectations and give yourself very small things to work on. The first of these robots were really simple. They took me 10 or 15 minutes. Now, this one took about an hour, and I've had several that have taken me 4 or 5 hours, but I'm always able to just do one that takes me 10 minutes. And that's a little freeing. It makes the process much more hospitable for me, and it allows me to stay in it longer. I suppose the point of all of this, as I'm always in the back of my mind as I'm rambling about these things, thinking about how can I coalesce this into a keynote, something that's beneficial to whoever's listening, or even just to try to understand myself a little bit further and understand what about this is important to me. I think that it's about maintaining joy and consistency, and I think those two are often hand in hand when it comes to art making. So joy is something we talk a lot about when it comes to making art. Most of us got into it because it made us happy, because we found satisfaction and joy in it, obviously. But I think consistency plays a good part in that too. And maybe this is because we as artists are often so critical of ourselves. Our eyes develop so quickly that we're able to see all of the inefficiencies and discrepancies in our work far before we have the skills to actually fix those things. But the more consistent we are with our work, the better our work is, the better our eyes and our hands work in tandem to illustrate the things that we want to. So it's a little bit harder to critique our work as harshly when we're working consistently. For me, these robots have been a consistent thing to work on. I sit down and I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to design and draw and build a robot, and that's it. It can be really simple. It can be really complicated. It can take me a few minutes. It can take me a few hours. It can be done with a pencil first. I can go straight in with pen. There's nothing beyond that. I even have one where I laid down brush pen underneath because my daughter insisted that I use one of her brush pens. And who am I to deny the almost 5-year-old girl who's sitting there and drawing with me? So I followed suit. I've got very few rules for these. And I don't I wish I could say that I set this up architecturally as the perfect drawing practice for me, and it's just not true. I stumbled into this. And I think that there might be some gold to mine there, that I have given myself an assignment that is malleable enough that it's not stressful, but it is strict enough that it takes away the stress of not knowing what to do. And so I just get to sit down and work on my series, and it's fun. I don't have to record the sessions, but I can if I want to. And I just get to keep plugging away on this. And as I see the numbers continue to fill out, as I write down, 61 or 62 after I finish this one, that feels satisfying. I can thumb back through the pages. I can show the drawings off to people in my life who care about my artwork. It's a fun thing and it's satisfying. I don't know what I'm going to do when I finish them. I have a feeling I will either just keep going, I'll try to get to 200 or 1,000 or something ridiculous, or I'll switch to doing dragons or monsters. I don't really know, and it's not really important to me right now. What's important is that by sheer dumb luck and tenacity, I have stumbled upon a drawing practice that works for me, that makes drawing daily or nearly daily easy and fun to dive into. Every single one of these, with maybe like one or two exceptions, I've enjoyed working on. And that's enough of a boon in of itself. It's hard for me to say with any honesty that I enjoy every piece of art I work on. I simply don't. Some are for specific purposes, they're not fun. Some just have chunks of them that are not particularly enjoyable. Things are hard maybe, or I stumbled in way over my head. But these, almost across the board, I have enjoyed. There's been a couple that have been really difficult. There's been a couple that have felt like they took way longer than I wanted them to, but most of them I've enjoyed. So when I reach the end of all of these robots, I think I will do a video, but I think I'm not going to do a video just like showing off, look at all my drawings. I think I'm going to do a video trying to break down how I designed this assignment for myself and the benefits that it had. And maybe I can try to figure out a methodology that would work for other people so that other people could come up with a self-diagnosed assignment, something that is going to work for you, that is going to keep you in your artwork for a long time. I can't help but do this. I spent so long in the classroom that so much of that work was just dissecting human psychology and the difficulties that come with creating things and our own human interactions with those creations. And so I just can't stop myself from thinking, hey, I've discovered something cool. How can I pass this on to other people? Well, as always, thank you for your time. I appreciate you listening. If you're looking to join an artistic community, we have a Discord server here at the channel, and you can see a link for it in the description down below. Thank you to patron Who, What, Where, When for your continued support. And if you would like to get access to video ideas before they happen, get to vote on upcoming podcasts and sketchbook sessions, and even see some of the scripts, you can support us on Patreon as well. And the link for that is down below. Have a good one, y'all. See you soon.